Hello everyone, good day to you all. You may have noticed I'm feeling in the mood to wear my spectacles today. Something has brought about a desire in me to dress down for you, I suppose. And I do, for this video, I have some notes on my computer, so I do not lose my place. So just know if you see a glare that I am pondering what to say next about the subject I have selected to extemporize on for today's video. Unfortunately, I am posting this recording to you today to speak about something quite disturbing. At least I find it so, and I suppose many of my associates in France will as well. For those of you who do not know, I recently made the leap across the pond to America. So yes, if you are wondering, I now live in the land of the brave and the home of the free. Yes, I am in America now. And to put it delicately, I've seen my share of mystifying things. Take, for instance, these remarkable foodstuffs. In America, they have a sizable output of what are known as food snacks, which are an assortment of gummy snacks, synthetically flavored to assume the likeness of fruit. They created these gummies so as to entice young children to partake of fruit, for apparently the texture and other manifest culinary attributes of fruit are not considered acceptable to the American juvenile palate. The sensation of juice, the life-reproducing seeds are often considered dangerous, and not only that, but decadent. Such things weigh on the American conscience at large. No, they much prefer their artificial flavors and high fructose corn syrup to anything remotely resembling life. And I purchased a box of such gummies, and to my utmost surprise, I found something quite unexpected. Well, it is marketed on the box as being a blue raspberry. For here in America, they seem to view all those who eat and prefer red raspberries as nothing but the lowest of vagrants and scoundrels amongst them. Yes, here in America, the raspberries come only in blue. So, imagine my shock and dismay when I found this little gem gleaming up at me from one of my several individually prepackaged plastic bags filled with gummies. I unfortunately do not have in my possession at the moment a true replica of the offending gummy, but you must know that it is exactly as pictured here. But I'm talking too much, just look. Look at that. Behold that gummy of, to my eye, distinctly emerald hue. Do you not think so? Look. Do you see? Except it's clean. A clean raspberry. I do not know about each of you personally, but if I were to come upon a raspberry of such a shade in the wild, I would stop and consider the state of my life chances before continuing and proceeding to devour it. And the ineffable flavor captured by these fearless snack makers similarly gives me pause. I ate it nonetheless, yet I did so with a sensation of marked regret. I wonder now, after continuing to be plagued by the awareness that I will forever now be fixed in history as a person who has eaten a green blue raspberry gummy, I wonder where American snack makers get off on making me feel I am demanding the world for daring to expect to find a raspberry whose color corresponds to the shade of its real-life counterpart, or if not that, at least to correspond to the color advertised their very own promotional materials. But such is life. Such is life here. Yes, I live in the barbaric sociopolitical wilderness that we once saw fit to grace with the blazing torch of knowledge held by Lady Liberty, known to the world as America. That is until I can raise the money, save the money, required to purchase a return ticket to France. Well, I'm now persuaded to say, having spent some small time here, virtually every state of culture, the arts, music, cinema, literature, cuisine, is vastly superior in every respect. Let us examine the state of American cinema. The cinema here is or seems to consist of a rotating stock of, firstly, on the one hand, children's entertainments, lazily and unintelligently written, filled with banal songs containing derivative, schlocky hooks, as well as lyrics which defy description in their insipidity, yet suffice it to say, induce me to vainly wish I no longer am able to understand English, so that perhaps I may imagine something with greater vitality, wit, and charm than they actually have. On the other hand, the cinema also includes a wide range of characters, situations, and emotional journeys. It of course employs sarcasm here to denote the turgid, imperious thrill that is a famed product of American film, known as the superhero movie, which, now that I have sampled a selection, I may confidently remark is produced with less attention to the spectator's intelligence than the children's movies, and seems to be produced for an audience possessing the intellect and attention span of a remedial American schoolchild, featuring action stars clad in Kevlar tights and billowing capes, punching their way through their problems and depositing tired one-liners with the swagger of a puffed-up Olympic decathlete, with now secured gold for his homeland. I specify remedial American schoolchild, of course, for if you do not know, the American schooling process here, the public school system, is, well, it is falling on rough times. That is, if it ever had good times to begin with. The public schools are so underfunded that out of them seem to emerge students with only, at best, a tenuous grasp of the language, who operate on a series of pre-planned scripts in order to survive the challenges of the day. Every social engagement they attend is said to be fine. Every movie they like is good. And every friend whose company they enjoy is nice. I have seen little deviation from these brief and mundane scripts. Indeed, my English is far and away much better than a decidedly broad swath of the native speakers here. The schools are indeed unable to graduate anything above a student of the most middling intellect. And this is telling in their taste in cinema and in film. They do not even appreciate a decent revival of a film, as we don't want. They would much rather retread their cherished superhero fare, which a single franchise, not including the interlocking web of supernatural vapidity known as the multiverse, can often include as many as 12 to 14 films. Says that point there. I alone have seen already at least 3 or perhaps 4 Spider-Boy films, shown to me with enthusiasm by some of my American friends. The most valuable one was obviously the most intelligently devised of the bunch, and was, of course, the animated iteration made for children, which, although a masterpiece by American benchmarks, was substandard according to French expectations. I apologize for I'm trying my best to convey the breadth and depth of American cultural inanity, yet I feel again and again doomed to failure to impress upon you the vigorous flatline that is the American cinema. Or take, for example, as I listen to some music, say you walk on any street in America, it is very likely that you shall see trucks, or at least that is how it is in my city, which is not the biggest and also has excessively wide roads to my eye, but perhaps not wide enough considering the dexterity of most American drivers at the wheel. Legions of pickup trucks, that is, for most, the preferred vehicle of choice, because it is to the American taste to gravitate toward the bulky, toward the ugly, and toward the fuel inefficient. They do not like to concede any of their egoistic status symbols to Paramount, because they do not like feeling that they are honor-bound to preserve the natural environment. It is upsetting to them. So they carry along these trucks, and perhaps the other armors, the most lurid monstrosity imaginable, so named for the produced by the, to be sure, unnecessarily powerful engine, as it hums a cheerful tune, bouncily heralding the ravishment of humanity's treasured inheritance, which is to say it to the annihilation of the environment. I heard that song used unironically in an advertisement recently, so it has been in my head. So what was I talking about? Oh yes, trucks and music. So many of the truck drivers, I find, love to savor their music, if it can be called that, by blasting the volume on their speakers so loud that it shatters the jellies of their eyeballs. Shatter is to dissolve into chunks, for those of you not in the know. The sound is not regarded as acceptable to them unless many speak favorably of music which, in their words, is capable of melting their face off. And indeed, they do play it so loud that the entire bodies of the car shakes and vibrates with the decibel level produced. And I know a thing or two about music, given that my parents raised me to appreciate it. And they are both amateur musicians. My mother a chanteuse, and my father playing the upright bass. If I have never spoken to you about how they met, it is quite a story, and I may as well tell it. They were both playing at the... I'm trying to speak only in English to better relate to my American friends. Open mic night. I always forget that. Anyway, In between sets, in between songs, my father said to my mother that he did much more than simply play low notes on the bass, and at this, made a lute motion as if to pluck mother's clitoris, and the rest is, as they say, history. Well, actually, my father often regales me with tales of the joys of the cunnilingus shared by him and my mother on that night. At least, so I am told. All this is to say, I do not see how playing one's ambient music at such a level as to provoke valid concerns of internal bleeding can possibly be pleasurable. And yes, I am sure there are perhaps a couple of Frenchmen who rebel against good taste and partake in such indulgences. But, however, that is how they do things here. It is very prevalent. Every song must be louder. Every smile must be blindingly white. Every inquiry as to one's health or satisfaction in life must be overly familiar and insincere. Everything must be intensely saturated and cartoonish and bright, brighter than the sun, glancing off their glitter decals in the shape of nude women, which they place on the back of their pickups, and which glare at such an intensity in your eyes as you drive as to be matched only by the sheer force of the music, no doubt, blaring in their ears. You heard my previous recording, how loud my neighbor played our music times the road, and not just that, but times two. And in a vehicle, not even in one's own place of dwelling. But technically, for many Americans, their vehicle is their place of dwelling, but don't get me started on their prices here, which is a real and serious problem, matched in magnitude only by such cultural deficiencies as the Gourmets and superhero flicks. That is something new and interesting, I learned. An American idiom for cinema which refers to the flicker of a movie on the screen in early film. And incidentally, the namesake for a very well-known streaming service, Netflix, although they laughed when I pronounced it in such a way, Netflix, as we know in France, Netflix, the TV show and softcore distributor, is known here as Netflix. Yes, Netflix, which does not quite roll off the tongue with such mellifluity as the French pronunciation. But what can you expect of them and their language? They do not know honesty. They have forgotten how to be intrepid as they once were known throughout the world. We are past the days of Tracy Chapman. We are beyond the time of Peggy Lee. Gone are the days when American art had oomph. That's the phrase I picked up from my humanities teacher, who admittedly is a bright spot amongst the darkness. I am certain that she alone here can relate to the trials of being burdened with above average intellect in a harshly Marvel-inflected, unforgiving landscape of the mind. Although by French standards, of course, she is perfectly ordinary, but she alone here is at least somewhat awake to the sensitivities of art and culture. Head, shoulders, and nostril hairs above any other American. Well, I've just heard an old Mercer's myth that nostril hairs are one of the most sensitive parts of the body, and she is. She is sensitive. Much love to Robert. Kisses. We will make this long distancing function in our favor, I'm sure. Or else, I ask that if you will, please grant me a reprieve from the thunder-headedness which surrounds me, and please send me words of encouragement, perhaps an insightful remark about a painting you like, or tell me which song moved you. And please, I beg you, allow that it is not by a so-called musician who goes by the name of Olivier Rodrigo. So I have other songs emanating from the iPhones of emotionally troubled teenagers as I pass them on the street. They listen to them without headphones in public, or otherwise play the music so loud in their headphones that passerby may hear it. Similar to the pickup trucks. And I truly do not discern any knowledge there. No. That only happened once, but I nonetheless found this display, this outpouring of adolescent grief, quite bothersome and also worrisome as to the instability such music seems to foster in the youth population. Yeah. So if you cannot come up with anything intelligent to say, send me well wishes, or as they say in America, send me thoughts and prayers to continue to survive here against the expanse of mediocrity known as the US of A. Green raspberry. This out for me. I now realize I am accustomed to a relatively advanced culture, globally speaking. That is the good cinema. Anyway, goodbye for today.